Okay guys, now list of headings. First, bhashan. Listen. Whenever we have list of headings, the first thing is skim read all the headings. Skim read. Skim read means to read quickly. All the headings. Number one. Number two, come to the paragraph, and there in the paragraph there is one thing which is called main idea. Now listen, for list of headings, although it sounds complicated, but for list of headings in the paragraph there is only one sentence which will match with the heading. The whole thing is not necessary, but how to locate that one sentence which is going to exactly match with the heading, for that it's a good idea to read the headings beforehand. For that, it's a good idea to see what is the topic sentence. If you remember, yesterday we were doing essay writing, and I said culture shock is the topic sentence of this paragraph. In the same way, there is a topic sentence. Sometimes, now what is the location of the topic sentence? Some paragraphs are so simple that in the first line, they tell you that main idea. So in that case, first line will give you the clue to find the answer of list of heading. Some paragraphs start with a general idea. Nowadays people believe blah blah blah, and then in the middle they introduce the main idea. In that case, the middle part of the paragraph is important. And otherwise they start with a general comment, at the end they conclude with the main topic. There was one paragraph in Cambridge Ielts book I was reading. The whole paragraph went like they did this, they went there for research and all that. At the end there was one line, and that was the aim of her research, right? And the heading was original aim of work. See that last line, last word. Before that they elaborated the whole research, and at the end they said, and that was the aim of her research. So these type of sentences will match. Now how to do it? For reading and for listening, your imagination is going to be very, very helpful. Whatever you imagine, you remember that. Whatever you imagine, you remember that. Okay, now let's go through list of headings. List of headings. Differences between languages highlight their impressiveness. Now please underline, differences between languages highlight their impressiveness. Heading number 2, way in which a few sounds are organized to convey a huge range of meaning. And by the way, we read that somewhere. Yes, baby, we read it somewhere. Okay, the way in which few sounds, for few sounds they use the word 24, 25 sounds, right? Organized to convey a huge range of meaning. All the languages based on those sounds, human sounds actually. Heading number 3, why the sounds used in different languages are not identical. In one paragraph, they will say different languages have different sounds. When they speak French, mainly they use the sound of bonjour, like that, okay? Okay, yeah, I used to teach French in the University of Central Punjab. In the morning, 8 a.m. class timing, एक student बिचारी को खांसी आनी शुरू हो जाती थी. Something like that. So French sounds are like that. Heading number 4, apparently incompatible characteristics of language. Incompatible, which do not match. Apparently incompatible characteristics of language. Heading number 5, ever silence can be meaningful. Silence can be meaningful. Now for example, they say there is a language. In that language, after a sentence, you take a pause, and that pause conveys a message. If you don't take a pause, it conveys a different message, right? You know, like, okay, say, roko, mat jane do. Roko mat, jane do. Okay, see that? Yeah, exactly. If I say, let's eat grandfather. Let's eat grandfather. What does that mean? Chalo, bapu nu khaiye. Dadaji ko khaye. Let's eat grandfather. But if you say, let's eat grandfather, let's eat grandfather, it means Dadaji chalo khaye. So pause can change the meaning. Okay, it's that. Silence can be meaningful. Heading number 6, why language is the most important invention of all. And by the way, if you know this, I mean, yeah, it's going to be somewhere with paragraph A where they were talking about wheel and all that. Now listen. As you're doing it now, many answers you already do. So that is why please do list of headings at the end. do the other questions, because list of heading is going to drain your brain. It's going to eat your time. List of heading is like magarmach, crocodile. It's going to eat all your time. So first, if you're done with other questions, you can manage it easily. Question number 7, universal ability to use language. Universal ability, they will say all human beings have the ability to use language and all that. Okay, now let's go to paragraph A. Of all mankind's manifold creations, language must take pride of place. Take pride of place means language is number one. Other inventions, the wheel, agriculture, sliced bread, may have transformed our material existence, but the advent of language is what made us human. Now match any heading with that. They say, but the advent of language is what made us human. Means language is very important part of being human. So, for question number 27, paragraph A, heading number 6. Well done. Why language is the most important invention of all? Why most important? Because language has made us human. Otherwise, like billiyan, they are doing meow meow, dogs are doing ruff ruff, hum bhi kar rahe the ho ho, something like that. If there was no language, right? So language has made us human. Now listen, cross heading number 6. Only number 6. And by the way, when you do list of headings, you have to use Roman number. Don't use English number. Just use Roman number. Okay? Now heading number 6 will not be used again. One heading will be used once only. Question number 28, paragraph B. Now please come to paragraph B, and by the way, if the paragraph is short, there is another tip. Within the passage, try to do those paragraphs first which are short. First do those paragraphs, find the heading and cross those headings there. Then you can come to the longer paragraphs. Number 1. Number 2, if you are reading a paragraph and you don't find a clue which heading is appropriate, leave that immediately. Never get stuck in Ielts listening and Ielts reading. Never get stuck with one question. Right? One question is only one question. In the conquest to find the answer of one question, you might lose 2 to 3 more questions. So don't spend more time. Answer mila, theek hai, nahi mila, chhod de. Then go on. Okay? Alright, so paragraph B. Let's see. What do they say and what do they talk about? They say, but language is foremost not just because it came first. In its own right, it is a tool of extraordinary sophistication, yet based on an idea of ingenious simplicity. This marvelous invention, what do they mean by that? This marvelous invention, language. This marvelous invention of composing of 25 or 30 sounds, that infinite variety of expressions, which whilst having in themselves no likeness. No likeness means they are incompatible actually. 24 sounds, but the languages are incompatible. Now go on and find something, match something with that. Absolutely. Apparently incompatible characteristics of language. What is that? 24 sounds, I'm reading it again. 25 or 30 sounds, that infinite variety of expressions, which whilst having in themselves no likeness. No likeness means ek jaise nahi hai, compatible nahi hai. So for question number 28, answer is heading number 4, and you will write IV as 4. Now please cross 4 as well. Just cross number 4 so that you are not going to read number 4 again. Paragraph C, and please read only first 3 to 4 lines and then tell me which heading is appropriate. Come on. Just focus this thing. Language often seems so skillfully drafted. How else could this instrument make so much out of barely 3 dozen measly morsel of sounds? Heading number 2. Well done. Heading number 2. Way in which a few sounds. For few sounds they use the word barely 3 dozen measly morsel of sounds. Okay, few sounds are organized to convey a huge range of meaning, and for that they said language often seems so skillfully drafted that one can hardly imagine it as anything other than the perfected handiwork of mastercraft. But let's read on. How else could this instrument make so much out? Now, so much out of few dozen sounds. So way in which few sounds are organized to convey a huge range of meaning. For huge range of meaning they use the word so much. Now please cross heading number 2 as well from the list. Okay. Now please come to paragraph D and focus the first half of paragraph D. Second line, the language machine allows just about everybody from pre-modern foragers in the subtropical savanna to post-modern philosophers in the... They're talking about universal use from this part to that part and all that. Well done. The universal ability to use language. For universal, they are talking about different parts of the world, different time periods of the history. So for paragraph D, heading number 7 is the right answer. Please cross heading number 7 as well. Now, please come to paragraph paragraph E. I give you a minute, read it, and then tell me which heading is appropriate for that. Good, just wait. So, paragraph E, first sentence, often it is only the estrangement of foreign tongues with their many exotic and outlandish features that brings home the wonder of language design. And then they give example of Turkish language and all that. So, heading number 1, differences between language highlight their impressiveness. Where do they mention differences between language? Estrangement of foreign tongues. Estrangement means difference in foreign languages. Okay. Now cross 1 as well. Now what headings are left? Heading number 3 and 5. Okay. 1 is already taken. 3 and 5. Now please go on to paragraph F. I give you a minute. And tell me the answer when I ask you. Okay. Yeah. Paragraph F. Just focus the middle part. They use the word absence of sound has been enlisted to express something specific. Yeah, please come to the middle of paragraph F. This sleek design allows. Mil gaya? Middle of paragraph F. This sleek design allows single sounds to convey useful information, and in fact even the absence of a sound. Absence of sound means silence. Absence of sound has enlisted to express something specific. For that, heading number 5. Even silence can be meaningful. Now which heading is left? Why the sound uses in different languages are not identical. This was a trap. Okay? Yes. All right.